Let's calculate if I can rip and flip a case of 2024 Topps Chrome Cosmic Baseball. This is a new series that I think is going to be really fun, where I'm going to bring you behind the scenes into some of the math, numbers, and just general calculations and thought behind me and my card business. One of the more interesting products that's coming out very soon is 2024 Topps Chrome Cosmic, and I bought a full case, but it was really expensive. After taxes, it was over $3,800. So determining how I use that for my business is a question, and I have some math to do. I've mentioned a few times here that I need to crunch the numbers, and I got this question as to whether or not I could show you guys the behind the scenes. So I figured let's show you my process and determine whether or not I can rip and flip this, or if we have to do something else, recognizing that there's some risk involved with that given the high cost of the case. Now I know some of you are probably asking, well, what the heck is a rip and flip? And the general basic idea, now I know some of you are probably asking, what the heck is a rip and flip? This is something that I've been trying over on Whatnot. I think we've done it 4 times. And basically, I take a box or boxes and open them live on stream and then sell the singles. For me, I understand the fun of watching people open boxes, the joy of that, but I also like that I know that my audience and customers are getting cards that they want at a price that they like. I know that I want to open boxes and it's going to be fun for me to rip them. And I also know that the majority of stuff that isn't PC or huge hits, I'm going to sell on the Whatnot streams anyways. So I said, what the heck, why don't we just combine this and do it all at once, make it a really fun show? And the audience has generally really liked it. It's been a really positive thing. I've seen the page grow with it. And most of the times I've broken even. One of the times I was a little negative, but that's fine. And ultimately, it's not all about that, but I want to make sure that I'm not going to lose too much money given the cost of this case. So to do this math, we're going to need to do a few things. First, we're going to need to understand what we're going to get in the case. One problem here is we don't have pack odds yet. I don't know when Topps is going to be releasing this, but I need to kind of know before that. I'm thinking it may come out like during release week, which might be too late for me to make that decision. So I'm going to base it off of last year's boxes. Now, I'm not going to base it off of how many autos, parallels, etc. I just want to look more generally at how many base cards are we going to get in each box on average, how many inserts will we get, and how many parallels, whether that's a numbered parallel, refractor, nucleus refractor, autograph, etc. So let's jump on over into Excel and check out some of the math that I did here. So to do this, I went and I looked at 4 different boxes of 2023 Cosmic Chrome that were being opened on YouTube. The first 2 boxes each had 61 base cards, 13 inserts, and 6 parallels. The third box that I saw had 63 base, so they got 1 less insert and 1 less parallel. I will say, they pulled a red Corbin Carroll auto out of 5, so I think they're okay with getting a few more base cards there. And then the fourth box had 62 base, 12 inserts, and 6 parallels. That's going to lead us to an average of just about 62 base cards, 12.5 inserts, and 5.75 parallels. Now, inserts and parallels, I anticipate that we're going to be able to sell every single one of those. The base cards is where it gets interesting, and that we need to look at our checklist. Now, I went over to the Topps website, and basically what I did is I typed out all of the players that I thought I could see me actually selling. So, all in all, there were 71 total players that I viewed as realistically guys who are desirable, people collect, would want, be interested in, etc. So these are top rookies, big stars, etc. And this came out to being 71 total players. That is then going to bring us to our expected total, which when you add up these 3 numbers comes to 482 cards in that case. Now I recognize that there's probably some margin of error. Some of these base cards I decide that I won't end up selling while I'm live. I may give them away. We may toss them into lots, which will allow me to move all of those cards, but it's definitely going to go for less than they would, say, an individual Ellie De La Cruz rookie card. So I'm expecting, give myself some margin of error here. We want to make sure that we're able to have some wiggle room here on our numbers. So I gave myself, if you come up here, a 25% margin of error. So I took that 482 and I multiplied that by 0.75, which gives us 361 cards roughly in the case that we expect will be worth selling. Now, I really like looking at that number because that basically says, given the inserts and parallels, those ones I'm confident we will be able to sell individually. The cosmic inserts are always very, very cool. The checklists are generally really good. Big names, not no-name or fringe guys who are really solid, like, Clayton Kershaw, great player. Whether or not I auction off a base card of his, we'll see how the vibe of the room is going. But an insert, absolutely going to sell, zero question there. So if you take the insert in parallel right there, that gets you to about 220 cards, just in inserts and parallels, which means that we only need to have 140 base cards, which I think is pretty reasonable given how deep this checklist is, how many solid rookies there are. I think there are going to be about 140 base cards that we can sell, so I think that that's a good conservative number. Now, given that 361 number that we're looking at, now we need to actually do the math. So scrolling over a little bit more, the cost of the case was $3,805 after taxes. Whatnot, generally, I view at the end of the stream, it's between 85 and 87%. Depends on how many giveaways we do, because that shipping really adds up quickly. So I said 15%. I would rather be conservative than overestimate. So I'd rather say 85% and know that maybe we have a little bit of extra wiggle room. That means that our break-even cost on the case has to be $4,477. So you know that because if you take $4,477 and you multiply it times 85%, that's going to get you $3,805.45. So if we make $4,477 off the case, we would make a whopping 45 cents there, which granted, I'm okay with. We're going to talk about some of the thoughts here in just a second, but at that 4,477 number, we are expecting or need each card on average to sell for about $12.38. So given this, let's talk about my thoughts and some bigger general perspective on why I'm going to go the way that I'm going, my averages, and why I think it's worth it. So looking at all those numbers, I think that it's worth it to rip and flip this case. I think that it's going to be worth it because $12.38, that is on the high end of where I tend to average on a stream when I'm talking about my regular singles, not the anytime auctions that I know are higher individual cards. I generally average between $10 and $12. It's a little less than 10 on a bad day. It's a little more than 12 on a good day. But between $10 and $12 on an average stream for my singles. Now, Cosmic is a really high-end, good product that is very desirable. So I think that that's going to help us get higher towards that ceiling that I tend to usually have. Also, I know that I'm going to be ripping this on release day, which there will be greater demand for the product. I don't know if Topps is going to have pre-orders before it releases, like Topps Chrome Sapphire that just came out. Because I was a Montgomery Club member, I was able to pre-order, and I got it the box on release day, whereas everybody else was doing their pre-order or entering the lottery just yesterday on release day. So it's going to be days before most people get the product into their hands. So if that's the case as well, there's definitely going to be an added premium as well. You already have the release day premium because people are excited about a new product. People are hyped about getting those cards in. And if it's a release day where most people don't have it as well, you can 2-3 times that hype, no question. So given that hype, given the quality of the product, I think that it hopefully is going to get us closer to that ceiling. The other thing that we have to take into consideration here is we are ripping a full case. That means that we should get some pretty solid hits. In a case last year, I think it was 1 in every 3 or 4 boxes you got an autograph. So I'm going to say let's say floor we get 3 autographs. The autograph checklist is really, really, really good. Let's check it out. So looking at our autograph checklist, I'm going to put it right up here on the screen, but you've got guys like Anthony Volpe, Austin Wells, Bobby Witt, Corbin Carroll, Rafaela, Evan Carter, Ellie De La Cruz, Jackson Churio, Caminero, Dominguez, Holiday, Jordan Lawler, Jackson Merrill, Juan Soto, Lawrence Butler. The stars are also the vet ones are really solid. Guys like Mike Trout, Luis Robert, I know he's having a mess season. Jose Ramirez, Yoshida, Pete Crow Armstrong, Paul Skeens, Acuna, Shota, Shohei. Basically, there's a lot of really solid autographs in this set. So those autographs should mean that we are going to get some good numbers there. That absolutely is going to bump up our ceiling. Additionally, as I talked about, some of those inserts are also going to be nicer inserts. We're ripping a full case. We should get some case hits out of here. Now, Topps doesn't do traditional typical case hits because we operate on pack odds. However, I think that you're going to see some bigger inserts here. Pack odds mean that we're going to pull some solid ones. We should see a Planetary Pursuit. We should see a Stella Nova, I would bet. We don't know the exact pack odds, but we're going to get the regular inserts that will sell well. I kind of look at those as fitting into that $12.40 range of where we need to be. But there's also going to be some bigger case hits that will absolutely help bring up our average because they're going to be bigger, more expensive cards. So I think that the math works out there, but there's also another factor that I want to talk about. And that's the benefit that I'm also just getting from ripping and flipping this and doing this full case. And there's a two-pronged benefit there. The first is the entertainment value and the growth of the brand. Sometimes you need to invest in your brand, sometimes you need to invest in your page in order to grow, bring people in, etc. I know that this will be something that will get a lot of viewers over and whatnot. I know that it's something that's going to be popular. People love to watch people open boxes. It's why breaking is so popular. Even if you don't enter the break, I know so many people that will just watch the break because it's fun. So I know that I'm going to get a lot of people that will come in and watch it, hopefully get some more followers, we'll do some giveaways. It will without a doubt help grow the page. The other factor too is with this format that I'm doing, the rip and flip, it's basically me taking the approach of I'm going to open this case myself, and then I know that I'm going to sell most of these cards that are not personal collection cards or absolute monsters that I'm going to send off to grading. So why not do it live? And the benefit that that comes with is, well, if we pull a monster, in our case of Topps Chrome this year that we did a rip and flip with, I pulled the Masataka, or not Yoshida. It wasn't Yoshida, it was Yamamoto that we pulled the orange auto of. And that was one of those cards that I said, chat, what do you guys think? Should I auction this off or not? And they were like, no, that's a monster. You should get that graded, which is what I did. And that's one of the rules that I set for rip and flip. If we hit an absolutely crazy card, big name, if we hit a Paul Skeens auto, I'm going to grade that card. That's one that with 100 people in a whatnot room, I don't think that it's necessarily, and I think chat generally tends to agree with me, it's not worth that risk of starting it at $1 and just sending it off and letting it be. If we hit a really big card, I also maintain the upside of being able to grade that card and then sell it or personally collect it, whatever. So there's the upside there as well. When I did the Topps Chrome case, I was gonna lose $100 after the case was done if it wasn't for the Yamamoto. Now, granted, you're not guaranteed to hit that. We could not hit the big card there, and you lose $100. But that $100 to me absolutely was or would have been worth the entertainment value that I was able to grow the page and the upside of maybe pulling something big. So that also is a factor that I'm considering. I don't go into this and I don't want to have the intention of, oh, I'm gonna rip this and keep all the big hits. I think that that's one of those things that you see a lot of people complain about when breakers buy just the big teams. However, I do think that there is some validity in saying, if this is a monster and one that probably deserves to be graded, I'm going to do that and then I'm going to make it available. So I think that there's that the upside there that is included, which for me, from a business perspective, is nice. There's some risk, obviously. That $12.39 or whatever it is, that's above generally where my averages are. So I could, without a doubt, lose some money here, but the risk of losing the money to me is not as great as the upside is what the case brings in terms of the audience as well as the potential for hitting a huge card that then we can grade and then move on to our audience. So I think basically, moral of the story, I think it's going to be worth ripping and flipping. It's a little on the higher end of what I like and tend to do, but I think it's a big enough product. I think it's a cool enough product. And we're going to give it a shot. That's another thing too with business is sometimes you got to try things out. It works, it doesn't work, and you learn from that. So we're going to give it a shot. On October 11th, I will be live ripping the full case. I think I've got the stream scheduled for 6 p.m. Central Time, mainly just to give FedEx some time in order to get the cards to me. Because last time they didn't deliver until 5 o'clock. I had to push back the Topps Chrome stream. But it's already scheduled. If you're new to Whatnot, you can get $15 for absolutely free. Really, really nice. I've got that link in my profile. So all you got to do is go there, sign up. You can hop on the stream. You can spend it with me or with somebody else. But even if you're not going to buy anything, come watch us rip the case. It was awesome when we pulled the Yamamoto. Really, really cool moment. Really fun to share that with you guys. And I'm looking forward to ripping this case of Cosmic Chrome. And of course, I also really like doing these behind the scenes of my business videos. I think it's fun to show you guys the thought process, the math, the numbers that I'm crunching to determine whether or not this works. I recognize that I make a lot of educational content and a lot of people aspire to get to the point where they could maybe turn cards into a side hustle, like full-time thing one day. What I have done myself and I'm working through right now. So I want to do more behind the scenes. I've got a video plan coming up where I'm going to talk about how I'm setting myself and establishing myself as a business, do some of the things in terms of buying big lots, crunching those numbers, etc. So got a lot more planned coming up. If you want to see that, make sure to follow along. As always, I appreciate you guys being here. I'll catch you in the next one.